To learn Japanese and you love anime songs, stay tuned because I'm going to be breaking down the opening theme song from Sora yorimo Tooi Basho, or A Place Further Than the Universe, or Yori moi, however you know it. I'm going to be breaking down that opening theme song, The Girls Are All Right. The almighty algorithm brought you here. I am Sarah, a professional anime and game translator, and occasionally I make videos like this where I break down an anime song and I show you word at a time, line at a time, what it means. Anime songs, J-pop, J-rock, manga, anime, all the fun stuff is one of the major ways that I learn Japanese. So I think it's a great tool for teaching other people Japanese. Now, I also made an English cover of this theme song. Definitely check that out. And I will also be going over in this translation tutorial of the theme song how I formulated my English cover, because an English cover is a little bit different from an English translation. So let's jump into it! Kyoushitsu is a classroom. Nooto is a notebook. Hirogete is to spread out. So 教室でノート広げて means spread out my notebook in the classroom. So で is the particle that is notating where an action is taking place. In this case, the place is a classroom. 真っ白なページ見つめて 真っ白な is pure white. Peeji is their borrowed word for page. You can tell because it's written in katakana. Same with nooto. Mitsumete means to stare at. So, staring at the blank white pages. Enpitsu de naguri-gaki. Enpitsu is pencil. De, in this case, the particle de is different. We'll get to that in a minute. So, enpitsu de naguri-gaki means to, like, scribble, to scrawl. So, enpitsu de naguri-gaki, it means to scrawl with the pencil. So, I'm doing this verb with the object, which in this case is the pencil. And then this is in Japanese quotes. So anytime you see like those weird little like angular things at the ends of what people are saying, those are quotation marks. So this is something that she is saying or something that she wrote on the blank white page. Kaetai na means I wish I could change. Kaetai na watashi wo. Watashi is I. O is it means that you're going to do a verb to I, which is watashi, and the verb that you're going to do is kaeru, which is to change, but if you change kaeru to kaetai, that means want to change. So it's basically watashi wo kaetai is kind of the original order of the sentence, but they changed it. Sometimes it makes it sound a little more poetic. Think Yoda. But yeah, kaetai na watashi wo, it means like, I wish I could change myself. Mayotte bakari ja, irarenai ne. Mayotte means to be lost or to be confused or to kind of falter in terms of like when you're making a decision. Mayou, it means it's sort of like, I'm not really sure what choice I should make. I'm not really sure what path I should take. So it's kind of this uncertainty and feeling of feeling lost, but it can also mean to physically be lost. Bakari means only. It's like you put that after a verb. So mayou bakari means to always or only be lost. Taberu bakari means like all you do is eat. Miru bakari means all you're doing is watching. So mayotte bakari means like always, like that's all you're doing is being lost. And then ja irarenai ne means irarenai means I cannot or you cannot, we cannot remain in this state of being. So we cannot always remain in the state of always being lost. So basically, I can't be lost and indecisive forever. So now I'm going to go over how I translated this into English in my English cover and just compare how it works out with the more literal translation. Sitting at my desk, my notebook in front of me, that's pretty much the same. Empty pages stare up at me tauntingly. So I added the tauntingly part because, as I explained in the Japanese cover of Let It Go, the song from the Disney movie, the Japanese language just takes more syllables to say the same thing that you say in English. So in the case of converting an English song into Japanese, they often have to cut concepts and words and thoughts and ideas and entire lines sometimes so that it'll fit in the amount of like syllables that exist in the song. But When the reverse happens, when you turn a Japanese song into an English song, you actually have more, you have extra syllables. So that gives you the freedom, actually. I really like, I would not like going from English to Japanese. I feel like you have to condense it too much, but I like going from Japanese to English because I get to add words and kind of expand the idea. So empty pages stare up at me instead of I stare at the pages. I had the pages staring up at her tauntingly. So it's like, it paints a picture of her being in an empty classroom and she's feeling kind of frustrated because the pages are taunting her by how blank they are. Pencil meets the page and scribbles the words. That's just a more poetic way of saying, with a pencil, I scribble the words. I wish I could be a different girl instead of I wish I could change myself. I wish I could change myself just sounds kind of weird. People would just say, I wish I could change, or I wish I could be someone else. I wish I could be a different girl, just so it would then rhyme easily with the next line. And my next line was a bit of a liberty. Instead of I can't stay here being lost and indecisive forever, I changed it to, but if wishes were horses, then beggars would rule the world. I just turned it into an idiom, basically. But the sentiment of that idiom is, well, wishing won't change anything, kind of thing. And that's kind of what the original sentiment was. It's like, well, I can't just sit here like wishing and feeling lost and indecisive forever. So it's the same sentiment, I just expressed it differently. Again, so the syllables would work and so that it would then rhyme. Taisetsu na means precious or dear or important. Minna is everyone. It can mean everyone, but it can also mean like my friends. Ga, so we know that the taisetsu na minna, the precious, dear, everyone, friends, we know that that is the subject of this sentence, so something about her precious friends. Ireba means, it is the conditional form of iru, which means to be or to exist for people, basically. So if my precious important friends are here, kitto means surely or certainly, heiki means be okay. So the whole thought is, if my dear friends are with me, I surely will be okay. Kokokara means from this point forward, or from this day forth. Zutto, that kind of expands that thought. Zutto means forever, so like starting now and forever. Tooi means distant or far, far away. Basho is place. Now you might notice, Tooi Basho is in the title of the anime. Sora yori mo toii basho. So it's in reference to that. So Tooi Basho is just a faraway place, a distant place, but it's referencing that book that came up in the anime, a place further than the universe that they based the anime off of. Mezashi is to aim for in terms of a destination or a target. So you're aiming for that distant place, but specifically Antarctica, the distant place that was mentioned in that book. And then let's go, that's English. So with my English cover, I translated this as, with my best friends all close by my side, that's pretty much literally what it was, we'll traverse the most merciless snow. So that was totally artistic license there. The original was, with my best friends all close by my side, I'll be okay. But I had way more syllables, so I made it a little more poetic. We'll traverse the most merciless snow. So I'm kind of connecting it a little more to Antarctica and adding some imagery in there that wasn't really in the original song. This is gonna be quite a ride. Not in the original at all. But again, this song has this like inspirational feel to it, and if you listen to the music in that little bridge section, it's building some intensity. And building a little anticipation and excitement. So I kind of feel that as I listen to the music, so that was more a musical choice to add in. This is going to be quite a ride. To the literal end of the earth, let's go. Tooi Basho, like, I translated that concept, because it's basically Antarctica that we're talking about. I translated that to the end of the earth, needed more syllables, and then I added the literal end of the earth, because it kind of is the literal end of the earth. It's like, if you're looking at a map, it's at the end. And the whole tone of this song is kind of cutesy, kind of funny. We'll get to that a little bit later in the chorus. There's a little bit of joking going on in the lyrics, so I kind of scattered little bits of jokingness into the lyrics throughout the song. So that's how I got that line. We're all right, we're all right. That's English. Waratte means to laugh or to smile. You don't actually know which necessarily. Ashita is tomorrow or the future. Ga, again, we're noting that ashita, or the future or tomorrow, is the subject of our little thought here. Hikatte is to shine, so tomorrow or the future is shining. Jumpu shite, jumpu is jump, basically. They borrowed that word. And then shite means like to perform or to do a jump. So jump or jumping. Minna, again, everyone. Tobi-dase is to like fly, to take flight, like to take flight and go forth kind of thing. And this is where some of that sing-songy joking feeling comes in. Waratte, hikatte, jumpu shite. It's kind of cheesy. It's really hard to convey. It's really hard to notice that that's cheesy if you haven't listened to a lot of Japanese, if you're not fluent in it, if you haven't, like, I don't know, heard a bunch of music. But that's kind of cheesy. It's kind of sing-songy. And of course it rhymes and it all ends the same way. That'll come in later in my English cover. Ishoni is together. Iru is like, I mentioned, it's that verb before that means to be as people. So ishoni iru means being together as people. And then if you add to at the end of that, it's a particle that says if/when we are together. Nandatte dekiru is a phrase that means I can do anything, or you can do anything, or we can do anything. There's no pronoun used in this case, so we don't know who you're talking about exactly, but we can do anything. Datte is sort of like a quotation mark. It's sort of like. It's like, I know that we can do anything kind of thing. It's not totally Valley Girl, but it does have that sort of feeling like you're sort of quoting a thought. And then kitto means surely or certainly. And then the next line, nanchatte, it is like a haha, lol, JK. It's that kind of feel to it. So this whole ishoni iru, like when we're together, I just know we can do anything. That's cheesy, right? It's super cheesy in English. It's also cheesy in Japanese. So she's acknowledging, yeah, I know, that's kind of cheesy and like really fairy tale full of me to say that. But that's the feel of this song. It's like dreams do come true. I know everyone's gonna think I'm crazy for having this dream, but haha, who cares? I'm a young, spunky, plucky teenage girl, and we're gonna get shit done. Te is hand. Tsunaide means to hold, so te tsunaide means to hold hands. Iko is let's go, and then yo is like a yeah, it's like an emphatic ending to your sentence. So te tsunaide iko yo, it's like yeah, let's hold hands and go. Hirogaru is to like expand, to spread forth. Panorama is panorama. Watashi is I. Watashi no means my. Seishun. Okay, so seishun is one of those words that doesn't exactly translate very well into English. It literally, like if you break up the kanji, it means blue spring. It means blue spring, and blue also means like unripe or youthful or young. In Japanese, it has, you know, that poetic twang to it. And then springtime, we have this symbolism in English as well. Springtime is sort of like springtime for Hitler in Germany. It's like springtime. It's like a metaphor of transitions. You know, good transitions usually, like a blossoming into like something new and beautiful and good. So seishun, it's often translated as just like my youth or youth, one's youth. But it's so much more than that. It's kind of like it's like your golden years. You know, how we have the golden years for, you know, people in their 60s or whatever, when they're married and retired and they're together, and that's called their golden years because, you know, they're older and wiser and they can look back fondly on their life and relax, in theory. But seishun, it's kind of like that concept of golden years only for when you are a preteen or a teenager. So yeah, it's, and it's also all the hardships that come with that. It's like the blood, sweat, and tears, the happy times, the sad times, discovering romance for the first time, being rejected, all your friendships that shape you, like that's seishun. It's like this giant thing. So it's kind of like the golden years of youth. And that was when, in the very first episode, when Kimari was looking over, she found that like list of things, like her high school bucket list. She found it when she was cleaning her room, and she started crying because one of the items on there was to have seishun, basically. And it's really like, get the most out of my high school years, get the most out of my high school days, experience everything that a teenage girl should. It has that kind of feel to it. So yeah, very complicated concept, seishun, and just translating it as my youth doesn't really do it justice. So watashi no seishun, it's like the golden years of my youth, everything really wonderful about being a teenager. And then mitsumete means I have found. So I finally found the golden years of my youth that were missing before, like when I was just going to high school and being normal. So for my English cover, going with the playfulness that was in the original Japanese version, we're all right, we're smiling, our future's brightly shining. That was kind of literal. It worked out pretty well. We're climbing, that was not in the original, but it rhymed with shining. Jumping did not rhyme with shining. And it doesn't exactly matter that they're jumping specifically. It matters that they're frolicking and having fun and exploring. We're only just arriving. Again, it rhymes. And it kind of goes with the sentiment of minna tobi-dase. It's like, everybody, like, fly forth. We're only just arriving. It's like, oh, you know, we're just getting started. We're going to keep going from here. When we are together, that's the same. I know that we will weather any weather. So I put a little pun in there because Antarctica is freezing, and because it rhymes with together. And it actually is a translation. It's actually a pretty accurate translation of the original Japanese line. I know that we'll be able to do anything. I know that we'll be able to weather any weather. It's kind of the same thing. And then whatever. That's basically my version of nanchatte, which is lol JK. It's kind of like whatever, haha. It's that kind of feel to it, and it rhymes. But hand in hand will never, and then I had to add give up. I had to add 2 extra syllables there. And that kind of goes with the original lyrics. Let's hold hands and go. Hand in hand will never give up. We have the whole hand in hand imagery thing going on. And then in the spacious panorama, that's pretty much literal. I found the missing piece of my high school days. I had a lot of trouble coming up with the, how I was gonna word that, because again, seishun is just such an elaborate concept. And I didn't really have enough syllables to express it. But I went with, I found the missing piece of my high school days because something was missing and she found it. So I'm still not entirely satisfied with that, but it was kind of the best I could do. We'll get to the second verse soon, but first a word from our sponsors. Okay, we're back. Thanks for not leaving when the commercial happened. All right, so the next line. Okujo is the rooftop of the school. And then no you add at the end is the particle that means apostrophe S, so the rooftop S. Kousha is a school building. So oftentimes like you'll have your school, your main building, and then you'll have the roof, and then there'll sometimes be like another building on top of that. So I imagine that's kind of what they're talking about. Nobotte is to climb. Massaona is bright blue. So Masshiro you might have heard before if you're familiar with Japanese, and that's bright white. So Massao is bright blue. Sora is sky. O is the particle that means we're going to do a verb to the noun that came before O. So a verb is going to happen to the sky. Miyagete comes from miyageru, which means to look up. So look up at the bright blue sky. So climb up to the school building on the roof and look up at the bright blue sky. goe is in a loud voice. De, again, this is similar as enpitsu de. It's that particle that means like with this noun, I'm going to do this verb. So with the noun of a big voice, I'm going to do a verb. Sakendara, so that comes from the verb sakebu, which is to scream. And then sakendara means if screaming took place. So if I, in this case, I'm assuming I, because she's singing the song from her perspective, if I were to scream out loudly, watashi, I, kawareru kana, kawareru kana. Kawareru means like to be able to change, and then kana is like a question marker. It's like, I wonder if. So if I climb up onto the school building on top of the school, and I look up at the bright blue sky, and I let out a really loud scream, then will I be able to change? It's that whole thought. Mada mada means, oh man, you ain't seen nothing yet. It means like still. Yaritai, yaritai koto is a thought of itself. Yaritai koto is things that I want to do. Yaritai just means I want to do. Yaritai koto is like things that I want to do. So mada mada yaritai koto, there are still so many things I want to do. Ippai means so many, or many, a lot. So mada mada yaritai koto ippai means like there's still so many things that I want to do. So my localization, I translated it to sneak out of school, climb up on the roof and see. So she didn't exactly sneak out of school in the original thing, although there was that episode where she wanted to ditch school and then she later did ditch school, so it works. Climb up on the roof and see, that part's the same. A sky so blue and cool, smiling back down at me. So blue and cool, you know, it rhymes, basically, and I'm creating imagery. You know, she was feeling stressed out in the classroom, but when she climbs up and she looks at the bright blue sky, then she feels calmed, and the sky is smiling down at her. Again, there was not in the original Japanese, but there was this feeling of, I look up at this bright blue sky. And it's a different feeling there. If I look up at her and let out a shout, so I personified the sky, and I gave the sky a gender, and I decided to make the sky female, because why not? Actually, there was a reason why I made this guy female. It's just this series is a very female-forward series. It's pretty much all the characters are women and girls. Yeah, so I wanted to make the bright blue sky female as well, to go with that motif. If I look up at her and let out a shout, so that's pretty much the same except that I gave the sky a gender. Maybe I could be a different girl. Again, I'm just kind of repeating that I wish I could be a different girl line from before. There's still so much I want to do, so that's literal translation. But I have extra syllables, and I want to rhyme with if I look up at her and let out a shout, so I added at the end, no time to sit and pout. And again, that goes back to the sentiment earlier in the song of Mayotte bakari ja Irarenai, which means I can't just sit here spinning my wheels and confused of what I should do. I gotta do something. Minna no, you should know that by now. It means everyone's or my friend's. Warai goe, so warau or warai means to laugh or smile, as we covered before. Warai goe means laughing voices. Can also mean like smiling voices, but voices kind of smile. They sound slightly different when you're smiling, but warai goe typically means laughter, laughing voices. So everyone's laughter. Kikuto means, again, it's that to particle that means if or when I do the verb that comes before me. So kiku is to hear, so if I hear or when I hear, whenever I hear. So minna no warai goe kikuto means whenever I hear the laughing voices of my friends. Hotto suru. Hotto suru means to, it literally means that. It means, it means to just relax, to sigh in relief. And then no at the end of that is a feminine, slightly emphatic way of making a statement. So it's like, I know in my heart kind of thing. Like, hey man, I know in my heart that when I hear the laughing voices of my friends, I breathe a sigh of relief. It's just so calming. That's the feeling there. Nandemo yaresou na. So nandemo yareru means I am able to do anything. Nandemo is anything, yareru is able to do. So 何でもやれそうな, that's kind of like an adjective. 何でもやれそう means I think I can do anything, and then na at the end of it basically changes it into one giant adjective. So it's the descriptive word of the sensation of being able to feel like you can do anything. That's kind of what that long word means. It's like German. They invented a long word. Kigasuru. So again, these two lines actually form together to complete one complete thought. So, 何でもやれそうな気がする. So the kigasuru at the end of something means I feel like the thing that came before me. So I have the feeling that I'm able to do anything. Ima koso means like now for sure, this time for sure. So the whole thought is, this time for sure, I really have the feeling that I am able to do anything. Let's go! So the way I localized this in my English cover is, with my best friends giggling in my ears. That's pretty much the same. I added the ears part, again, because I wanted to rhyme, and ears is a pretty easy word to rhyme. Much easier than giggling. I needed more syllables. So with my best friends giggling in my ears, I feel so calm, like I'm at home. So again, I added like I'm at home because I had extra syllables, but it is that sensation, that calming sensation of, I'm home now, finally, away from the stressful world. So with my best friends giggling in my ears, I feel so calm, like I'm at home. They'll help to expel my fears. There's no chickening out this time, let's go. So I twisted that just a little bit. Before it was more like, I feel like I can do anything now. But in my localization, I changed it. I made it a little more specific. I feel like I can do anything now because I'm not scared anymore, because of my friends. And if you look at the anime series, that's true. Kimari was scared before to do anything big, but because she had her friends with her, it gave her the strength to do that. Next chorus. We're all right. Hashitte means to run. Patto is like a sound effect, like pop, pow. So with a pow, with a pop, with gusto. Tobikoete means to cross over things, oftentimes to cross over obstacles or to cross over mountains, that kind of feel. So patto tobikoeru would mean like to burst over the obstacles. Tachishite. Tachi comes from the English word touch, but it doesn't mean just touch, as in like to touch, you know, something. It literally means to high five somebody. That's the way they use it. Or if you're running a relay race and then you're touching the next person, you're tapping the next person to go in your place. So that's what tachi means in this context. It does not mean just to touch somebody. So it means high-fiving or, you know, touching people off in a relay race. So it could mean either. This is all kind of symbolic anyway. It means like we're running, we are jumping over hurdles or obstacles, we are touching. So yeah, I mean, if you're using that relay race metaphor, which it sounds like they're kind of going with, then I think you're touching each other off so that the next person can run in your place. So basically we're using good teamwork and we're working on a relay race together, metaphorically. Zenbu means everything. Oikose means, again, to cross over everything. Or to overtake. So oikosu, like if I'm racing somebody and then I oikosu that person, like I run past that person. So yeah, a lot of relay race metaphorage going on in here. So the last chorus, it was issho iru to, but this one is issho ireba. It's kind of the same meaning. The last one is whenever we are together. This one is like if we are together. It's a little more of a conditional. If we are together, then something something. So the something something in this case, kawaii mono means scary things. Kawaii means scary, mono is things. Nante, so kawaii mono nante, it's like pa! Scary things. And then nai ne means they don't exist. So it's kind of like, pa, scary things, ha, they don't exist. I laugh in the face of danger. So if we're together, then pa, scary, schmary, that doesn't exist. And then kitto, again, surely, so I'm sure of this. And then nante ne, it's like, haha, lol, JK. That kind of feeling to it. Chotto tere kusai. Chotto means a little bit. Terekusai means, God, like, this is so cheesy. I'm kind of embarrassing. It's making me blush because this is cheesy and sappy. And then ne is like, yeah, you know. So she's singing about this like relay race metaphor. Yeah, we're all running together, we're overcoming obstacles, and when we're together, we laugh in the face of danger. Haha. Yeah, that was kind of cheesy. It's that kind of feel to it. Hirogaru panorama, same as the last chorus, the expanding, spreading out, vast panorama. Watashi no mirai, so mirai is future, so watashi no mirai is my future. Kokokara means like, from here is literally what it means, but it starts now, so my future begins now. The way I localize this in my English cover, we're all right, we're all right. We're running, the same, literal. Over walls, we are tumbling. Kind of the same. You're jumping, springing over things. So over walls we are tumbling, because it rhymes. We're chumming, so the tachi shite, I changed that to we're chumming, because tachi, it can mean just high five, but you know, the relay race teamwork, we're chumming, so we're being friends, we're actively being friends, and it rhymes, sort of. It's a slant rhyme with tumbling and running. Watch out world, we are coming. Cliche line, but again, the whole feel of these choruses is kind of cliche. So I'm like, let's add in a nice little cliche phrase that rhymes. So watch out world, we are coming. And it still kind of goes with that feeling of we're overcoming things, we're surpassing the competition, we're taking on the world. When we are together, same. I feel that we are birds of a feather. So again, another sort of cliche line that rhymes. It's not exactly the way the Japanese was. It was more like when we're together, there's nothing to be scared of. This is more like when we're together, we're alike. But again, it rhymed, and the whole point is it's kind of supposed to be cheesy and silly. So I went with we're birds of a feather. Whatever! Haha, lol JK. My cheeks are getting redder. That went from the terekusai, which often means like, this is making me blush. And again, redder rhymed, so I went with that. In the spacious panorama. The piece that I was missing will change my life. I just kind of referenced back to that last line I talked about in the last chorus of the piece that I was missing of the golden years of my youth. Will change my life, meaning like my life is about to change now. So it goes back to that watashi no mirai kokokara, which means like my future begins now. Similar sentiment, just expressed very differently. Hokago means after school. Jitensha is bicycle. Oshinagara, so osu is to push. Oshinagara means while pushing. So after school, while pushing our bicycles, issoni, together. Hanashita is the past tense of hanasu, which is to speak or to talk. So after school, as we pushed our bikes along, we would talk together. Baito is short for arubaito, which is the German borrowed word arbeit, which means, well, in German it means just work, but in Japanese it means part-time job. So baito no koto means, so the no koto is like about the noun that came before me, so baito no koto means about work. Barechatta comes from the verb bareru, and yes, the first two parts are written in katakana because it's sort of a slangy verb. So bareru means like to find out, you know, to have your cover blown, that kind of to find out. So barechatta, I mean, it's pretty much always bad if somebody finds out. In this case, bareru is bad. So barechatta, that's a verb ending that means like, uh-oh, this verb happened. So barechatta means was accidentally, uh-oh, found out, basically. Himitsu is secrets, so secrets that were accidentally, you know, uncovered, that weren't supposed to be uncovered, uh-oh, that kind of feeling. Ya is a particle that kind of means and it's like when you're listing things and you're not talking about specific things necessarily. We're saying like, oh yeah, I wanna eat things for dinner like chicken or like beef or like sandwiches or like, you know, those kind of heavy comfort food things. In that case, I would use ya. It's like, I wanna eat things like this and like this and like this. It's that kind of feeling to it rather than to, which is like I'm listing definite specific things. Ya is a little more vague. Dare, ga means like, well, dare means who, and then ga means, that dare, who, is the subject, so something's gonna happen to the subject. Dare ga suki, so suki means to like someone, so who likes who, or who do you like. Toka means like or, you know, stuff like that. So after school, as we pushed our bikes down the road, we would talk about our part-time jobs or about like rumors or secrets that had gotten out or like who's crushing on who. Minna, everyone, to iru. So minna to iru, what do you think that means? You should probably know that by now. Yeah, so minna to iru means with everyone. Toki means in times when, the stuff that came before me. So in times when we are together. So minna to iru toki is whenever we're together or the times where we're together, the times that we shared. Ga, so the subject of this thought is the times that we shared. Ichiban is the most or number one. Tanoshi is fun. And then na is sort of like a yeah man kind of ending, like yeah those were the days kind of ending to the sentence. So the times that we spent together were the most fun. Ima means now, and then ima nara means I couldn't do it before, but now I can do something. So we'll follow that up with some more words in a minute. Daijobu te. So the daijobu is in quotes again. Daijobu means I'm okay or I'm all right because it's in quotes. Daijobu te. Te in this case is quoting. So the thing that comes before me was spoken. Ieru means can say. You is to say, ieru is can say. So daijobu te ieru means I have the ability to say I am okay. Yo, again, is that confident ending to the sentence, like, yeah, I know for sure. I can totally say I'm okay now. So that whole thought, ima nara watashi daijobu te ieru yo. The whole thought together means I couldn't do it before, but now I know that I can really say with confidence, I'm okay, or I'm all right. Zettai, that word that comes after it means absolutely. So that goes with the whole thought. Like, yeah, now I know for sure. Like in the past, it might have been different, but now I have the ability to say that I'm all right and actually mean it. So I'll go to my English localization. After school, on our bikes, as we rode down the road, nice little homonym action there, we would talk and we'd laugh a lot. So that's pretty much a literal translation. The only thing I added in there is we'd laugh. Again, because there were extra syllables. About work, that's the same. About grades, about school. So they weren't really talking about grades in school, but again, I needed to fill up syllables. And again, she's just kind of listing the sorts of things that they were talking about, and they're not specific anyway, so I can take some artistic license and add in some words. So about work, about grades, about school, rumors, and who was dating and who had fought. So the school rumors bit was the barechatta koto, the secrets that got let out. Who was dating and who had fought is like dare ga suki toka, that means like who likes who. And then who had fought, just because it rhymes with a lot. It's the times that I spent with my friends that I felt I was most alive. That's almost a literal translation. It's just instead of the most fun, I made it I was the most alive. And actually, I think that's better. I think that's a little more poetic than most fun. And then you'll see why I chose the word alive too. And now I can finally say, that's pretty much exactly ima nara watashi ieru. That's kind of what that whole thing means. Now I can finally say that I'll not only be all right, I'll thrive. So again, thrive, I'll thrive rhymes with alive. So that worked. And again, I think this is a little bit better, honestly, I think, than the original Japanese lyrics. I just took it a little bit further, because that's more what this song is about. It's like, it's not just about being all right, it's about thriving, it's about becoming a better person, it's about expanding your horizons. So that's why I added in the all thrive. It doesn't just rhyme, I like it. So the final chorus is pretty much the same as the first chorus, except there's one extra line at the very end, one extra tag. After Watashi no seishun mitsuketa, I found, you know, the missing piece of the golden years of my youth. Minna de. So it's this de again, this particle that means with the noun, I will do this verb. So in this case, the noun is minna, which is everyone or my friends. So minna de, so with everyone. Mitsuketa, so I found it with everyone. We found it all together. And in my English cover, my last two lines were, I found the missing piece of my high school days. Together we all found our way. So it's pretty much the same as the original Japanese, and then I got to rhyme with high school days, and ultimately I think that's why I settled on that specific wording of I found the missing piece of my high school days, just so that I could then rhyme way at the very end of the song. It's like a really easy word to rhyme, so I think that's actually why I went with that line all in all. Well, thanks for sitting through that really long video. Now comes my favorite part, where we sing it together in Japanese. I'm going to have the lyrics on the bottom of the screen so you can sing along. And if you memorize this song in Japanese and memorize what all of the words mean, then hey, you've learned a bunch of vocabulary and grammar rules. Happy singing! Kyoushitsu de nooto hirogete 真っ白なページ見つめて鉛筆でなぐり書き変えたいな私を迷ってばかりじゃいられないね大切なみんながいればきっと平気ここからずっと遠い場所目指し Let's go! We're alright, we're alright 笑って光ってジャンプしてみんな飛び出せ一緒にいるとなんだってできるんだってきっとなんちゃって手つないでいこうよ広がるパノラマ私の青春見つけた Ooh, Pan, do you want to sing with me? Better not be under the windowsill, buddy. I'm gonna be in your way. Here, let's sing together. 屋上の校舎の表真っ青な空を見上げて大声で叫んだら私変わるかなまだまだやりたいこといっぱいみんなの笑い声聞くとほっとするの何でもやれそうな気がする今こそ Let's go! We're alright, we're alright 走ってパッと飛び越えてタッチして全部を追い越せ一緒にいれば怖いもんとなんてないねきっとなんてねちょっと照れくさいね広がるパノラマ私の未来ここから Dance break from Pan You want to sit on the window and watch the cars, huh? Maybe you want to do it. Too bad you gotta sit in Mommy's lap. No, don't walk on the computer. That's not right. 放課後自転車をしながら一緒に話したバイトのことバレちゃった秘密や誰が好きとかみんなといる時が一番楽しいな
今なら私大丈夫って言えるよ絶対 We're alright, we're alright 笑って明日が光ってジャンプしてみんなでいたぜ一緒にいるとなんだってできるんだってきっとなんちゃって手つないでいこうよ広がるパノラマ私の青春見つけたみんなで見つけた
Well, thanks for watching to the end and singing with me. Check out the English cover that I made of this song if you haven't already, and check out the anime if you haven't already. It's amazing!